Hello everybody, welcome to Tpull's Corner. This is your host Travis, and we're starting with a deck tech instead of a battle because this is one of Wizards' pre-made decks. We're getting near the end, and what they did different was instead of making a standard deck, they made an Alchemy deck. And that's why you can see these in these kind of red, gray kind of highlighted colors. We're going to go over those cards first. We have Gixine Recycler. When it dies or is put into your graveyard from your hand or library, you conjure another card with the same name into your graveyard. So you can get a 3/1, and then the awkward way this text is just basically tells you if it dies or goes from your library and gets milled, you get two of these, an extra copy, in the graveyard. Both of them will have Inerith, so you can summon two different Gixine Recyclers for just 2 mana. Diminished Returner always enters battlefield tapped, but for 2 black, you can get it back to the battlefield. But it comes back as a 3/2 and then a 2/1, and unless you can pump it up more, that's as much as you can bring it back. We have Sauron the Necromancer. This is from Lord of the Rings, and it's a cool card, but I don't know why they put it here. 4/4 Avatar Horror with Menace. Whenever it attacks, you exile the target creature card from your graveyard. Create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that card, except it's 3/3 Black Wraith with Menace. So you could take like a 3/1 and make it a 3/3, that kind of thing. You can make a conscript from a 2/1 into a 3/3. The issue I have is the last sentence. At the beginning of the next end step, exile that token unless Sauron is your ring bearer. And the problem is there's no other card in here that matches from Lord of the Rings to name somebody your ring bearer to, to summon the ring. So it's very rare for Wizards to ignore the text on their card. Usually there's a very big effort made to showcase all the synergies of a deck. Excuse me. So that card's kind of awkward here. We do have another Lord of the Rings card that's pretty awesome. Shadow of the Enemy for 6. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. So if you like your enemy's graveyard better, you could do that. You can cast spells from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast them. So there's only one copy, but if you do get to cast it, it can really make for a fun match. For the rest of what we have 2 Cold Conscripts that you can bring back from the graveyard, Urborg Repossessions to bring stuff back from the graveyard. And that's because we have things like Blanchwood Prowler, where when it enters the battlefield, you mill 3 cards, and Burrowing Razor Maw, which when it dies, you mill 4 cards. For removal, we've got 2 Go for the Throats, 3 Vanquish the Weaks that take out power 3 or less, and 2 Overwhelming Remorse that get cheaper as you get cards in your graveyard, and those can also take out Planeswalkers. So not the most removal overall, but you do have other ways to get rid of things. For instance, Gissa Sunslayer. If she's blocked, she has First Strike and Death Touch. We also have a couple of three wary Thespians. When they enter the battlefield or die, you can surveil 1, which means you can actually put a card in your graveyard if you don't like it there. So another way to put things in the graveyard. We have 3 Ravenous Gigamoles. You mill 3 cards here as well. You can put a creature card in your hand. If not, this becomes a 3/4. Terror of Tawashi is kind of cool. Death Touch, 4/3. When it attacks, if you have 4 mana to pay, you can return a target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It becomes a Phyrexian in addition to any other types that it is. And we have Conduit of Worlds. You can play lands from your graveyard, or you can choose a target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. So that's why we don't mind all of the mill cards, except there's only 1 copy of this, and what if you mill this? Then you're in trouble. But, if you can get it out and play it, just like play that with Shadow of the Enemy, and that kind of makes the whole deck. We have Skyfisher Spider, say that 3 times fast. When it enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice another creature, and if you do, you get to destroy a target non-land permanent. When this spider dies, you can gain 1 life for every creature card in your graveyard, but you have to exile the spider from your graveyard so you can't use it again. The other thing we have is 1 Deathbloom Ritualist. Add X of any color, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. And the final creature, Phyrexian Gargantua. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. That's the deck. We're going to go into Alchemy and play it because we don't have any other choice. If we want to keep those cards, that's where we're going to play it. And we'll see how it handles. And as I've mentioned in the others, there's a playlist right now called Travis Plays the Premades. So I'm going down the list of all 10 of the pre-made decks that Wizards of the Coast has made, trying to find some good ones. It feels more difficult this time. There are individual cards in there I like, but for entire decks, the whole thing seems a little bit lacking. But Wizards has been trying to boost up interest and participation in the Alchemy format for a while. Most of their midweek Magic events are involving Alchemy cards, Alchemy decks, pre-made decks that have Alchemy and Lord of the Rings. And I suppose I can't blame them if they're trying to beef up a section of their game and this is the one that needs the most help. I think I'm okay with throwing the land away because I've got 4 already. I think we've got time. What do we do with the infantry? He's 3 or less now. It feels like a waste if I don't use that on it. First blood is mine. That means I'm going to win, right? They have removal too? Let's see if they draw a card. Ah, they want to improve their hand. Okay, we'll take the rigmarole. Gigamole. We'll take the whole rigmarole. Mill 3, don't be the good cards. What did I just say? We lost Conduit of Worlds. Why would you have that near the top at the only time that I got my mill card? The one mill card I have. I can get it back with Urborg Repossession. How much removal do you have? They're beating us in land because they threw a forest away. Am I going to regret that now? They gave me the most expensive cards. Aha! I think that is too dangerous to allow to live. And there's nothing on the board, so Gliss is going to draw a card and it'll cost us 1 life point. Excellent, more removal. We might need it. They are not missing a land drop. I wish I could claim skill, but it's just me playing the cards I'm dealt. Honored opponent. And you have another one? Ouch. Okay, they know I have this, so we'll put it out. That's a lot of removal up front. That's 3 direct damage already. There's a dragon. Again, something too powerful to countenance existing. And if I go ahead and I do this... Oh, they don't wait for me to make the choice on if I was going to exile a creature and make it a zombie. Well, mono red going toe-to-toe with mono black, but we had about the same amount of removal. And black's removal is just a tad more effective in that we're the color of destruction. So black is allowed to destroy bigger creatures normally. Red kind of has a limit except for a few select X spells. Which I don't know if that was totally a lost battle for them, but we took out enough of their forces and threats that they didn't feel it worth continuing. And I did like what I had left in my hand. Okay, I like that to start with. 4 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops. Eh. But we got 3 of the 4 lands we need. And that does mean good odds that we'll get something other than a 4-drop coming up. So under the post section of my YouTube page, I have a poll out right now concerning specifically... let's put out Untapped Land, and we'll bring out the Gigskin Recycler now. Early pressure, right? That's 3 damage if they can't counter it. But it asks your opinion on how Wizards did things differently this time, instead of giving us decks to play in Modern Standard. Is it okay with you? Let's see, in order to get the damage to return, I am going to need black mana. So we'll do that now and see if this... Ooh, it gets through. Anyway, the poll is there to see, is it okay with you that they made these in Alchemy primarily? Do you mind? Is it an issue? You know, I could bring down the spider or just go for the throat. I feel like go for the throat is just fine because I get to swing in again for 3. I'm always partial to trying to look for something else to do, but generally speaking, just plain removal tends to be better than anything else. Really? Do I use Skyfisher Spider to sacrifice the Recycler? I do, but not for a Charmed Stray. Let's go ahead and mill 3 cards. And I'll leave that there so we get a +1 counter. I'll leave it there. Now there's only about half a dozen Alchemy type cards or Lord of the Rings cards in this set. And it is easy to export it to your decks, change it from an Alchemy to Standard. They look like they had something they might be willing to play. What do you think that was? We're going to be cautious. We're going to build up our forces. These are based on life gain and building up a large army. I don't think that they bother with board wipes. They do have something, but I'm willing to see what it is just to get it out of your hand now. Okay. Battle tactic. They only used 1 mana for that too. Let's do this. You're not getting as much life gain as you want just yet. And we can bring our stuff back. Yeah, please attack me. No. Okay. Well, let's pay it. Let's bring you back. Boom. Shame it was land when I already have 6 land, but... Oh, they take it. I thought they might double block something like the Terror. Ooh, Goring Ceratops. Other creatures get double strike when it attacks. But you tapped out for that. They're not attacking now, and you're tapped out, so that makes 0 sense. You don't get double strike from that. And this goes away. Good game. I think that was just a misplay on their part. Or maybe they just didn't care because they knew it was hopeless at that point. This is going much better than my earlier playtesting. I took this out probably 2 or 3 weeks ago before I got distracted by all the other Midweek Magic events and stuff like that going on. And it didn't perform that well. So yeah, check out the opinion poll on the post page. Go ahead and answer it if you would. Wizards is always claiming that they want to data mine the planet to get better feedback to improve their game. So I'm doing just like 1 opinion poll a month, and I think we're still in the same month that I started that one. And so we'll keep it open until I get to the 10th deck in all of these pre-mades that they made. And basically I'm asking, is it okay for them to do this? Do you object to them trying to emphasize alchemy? Is it okay because they made it so easy to just go ahead and, you know, take out 6 cards, turn it into a standard deck, and just play it in standard that way if you want? Or should they be making pre-made decks for both formats? Should they be offering that up as just a regular service, so to speak, as part of the game? Okay, we'll enter in our last tat, bring down the Thespian to block the Recycler. And is this a mirror match? I feel like because I have the Necromancer, I already need more land. So we're going to keep our land draw. Still keeping the same thing. They get their 2 copies. Let's see. I'll bring out the Razor Maw now. And that means I can put the tap land out now. And I've got options for next turn. And this they can bring back for 8, right? Less for each basic land type, of which they're only going to have 2. So they can bring it back for 6. And they're going to be able to bring it back fairly soon. And don't block the recyclers, because they've got unearthed, so they're going to be exiling themselves. And this is kind of a bad mill, because Urborg Repossession is what we used to get everything else back, and we lost a removal. Use everything we got to bring out our most powerful piece. But they'll have overwhelming response as well, or overwhelming remorse, rather. This is not a mirror match, is it? I don't think we don't have Tribute to World Tree. I wonder if they changed this. We've got that card. They don't have much in their graveyard right now, so I don't want to use that just yet. We'll take the spider back. We will attack. We'll bring this back as a 3/3, and that lets us surveil. No. Maybe I should have. But if they kill something now, then I can still bring the conscript back, right? Are you going to try and block Sauron? Oh, that's a mistake. See, I have this. You exile the token so that if I want to cast the Shadow of the Enemy, I can get into their graveyard later. Okay, that gets exiled, so if they have the spell, they're not going to like our graveyard because we're emptying it. They can bring out the recycler anytime they want. I kind of need more ammo to support the stuff that I want to do and can do with this deck. That's not really enough. You brought that back, didn't you? You have a couple of those, eh? Alright. You go there. Can we bring you up? Non-skeleton... Oh, it was under my control. Okay, so we'll pass. We'll use the Gigamole as a chump blocker. Nice little card draw they got going. Ooh. Think we found a good target. Okay, we'll save from 4 points. Bring this back. Wow, we are flooding out with land. I mean, our enemy's got about the same amount of land. Sacrifice you, get rid of Glissa. And I think we're almost ready to raid them. I was hoping they'd get rid of a creature, but they did get rid of a way to get creatures back. Oh no. Oh no. That's trouble. I can't deal damage to them now. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to block you, get rid of the Green Widow. We're going to take 4. We're not going to exile it. We are going to bring the Cult Conscript back. That is terrible. Let's target my graveyard, I guess. Everything's too expensive. But I mean, what was here? I mean, I could have got Glissa, but they've got flying. And I really need removal, and I don't have removal. Actually, they've got me no matter what, right? They've got lethal already. Yeah, there's nothing that I can do. They just got threat after threat after threat out, didn't they? It's all bigger than my stuff. That was not a mirror match. They had other stuff. I don't know how fun that was, really. This is not a fun deck for me, necessarily. There's 2 fun cards in here. And we cast the one fun card when it was too late. And I didn't get another turn to actually benefit from it. The most expensive card in our deck, getting that first. Arena's reverting to its normal form. We got a 2-drop, we play a 2-drop. Yep, we need the land, we'll take the land. And we don't have removal this time. And the electrostatic infantry is potentially more valuable to them than trading off for a 3-1. Oh, and the ring tempts you as well. Figures, 2 removal cards. The very stuff we need, that's what goes away, and we can't get it back with Urborg Repossession. It only works on permanents if we kick it. Otherwise it's just creatures. They still have something else they can do if they want. They have blue, so yeah, you have to wait. Okay, they don't even bother with the Thespian. They just go straight to face for the damage. So they think they can beat us in the race. And if all I'm going to do is get that stuff, they might be right. I guess we bring out Glissa. I'm expecting them to kill Glissa right away. One mana cards, lots of really cheap spells to pump up the infantry fast. My Go for the Throat is gone. And they still manage to hurt. They don't kill Glissa. And they're finally tapped out, but that was only one as well. So they don't attack. Well, they don't need to, because look at what we're doing. We're doing a whole lot of nothing. I guess just to give me something to do. Because that was impressive. Now we're kind of at their mercy. And because of the way their deck is constructed, Shadow of the Enemy is pretty much a worthless card. Because this only works on creatures. No, wait. You can cast spells. I stand corrected. I forgot about that. Okay, so 3, 4, 5. It might be too late. That's a lot of power. And it's got trample. But, let's see. 3, 8, 8, 16. I can chump block. I think they got me. I don't have enough toughness. And yet again, I'll be able to cast the... I'll be able to cast this. Target me. No, sorry. Exile all creature cards. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of another spell. It is still creature cards. So this is worthless. They'll just get me here. 2 creatures and the rest was instants and sorceries. They didn't even need Third Path Iconoclast. Well, we cast the spell that I like. Too early, didn't do us any good. There was nothing that we got dealt. The mill worked against us. We had 2 removal cards. We needed removal. That's what black needs. I'm not doing black. And this is kind of why the deck is uninspiring. There's no way to sort through the top of your library. There's no way to look at what you're going to mill. There's not really a lot of inventiveness. They're really leaving it up to luck. Is that really where we're at after all these years of Magic? Trusting that we're going to mill the right things just by random mill cards? There are better put together decks that rely on self-mill that have greater synergy than this, and that's the problem. Is it seems like we've been here before, but we've already done better. So you're not showcasing a pre-made deck that gives us a new theme, and the pieces aren't really coming together the way that they need to work, unless you have the greatest of luck. And here's 140 odd cards, and we'll see if they get their perfect monocurve draw here, as the oversized decks always seem to do when other people do them. Not when you and I do them. When you and I try them, we get mana screwed and stuff like that, don't we? What's let me see this. Grey Havens. Among legendary creature cards in your graveyard. Okay, so let's go ahead and be aggressive. They're taking their own sweet time setting up. I need a second black mana source for diminished returner. Oh, hello. They're going to get rid of Conduit of Worlds, right? The one card I like. I guess I'm just not allowed to play with the things I like. We've got Urborg Repossessions. Maybe we can get it back. You better believe you put something down with power 3 or less. I am getting rid of it. You and your poison deck. Goodbye. So they're going to try and beat us by card draw. Which might explain why they have a lot of cards. They knew they'd be getting this to draw through things pretty nicely. That's kind of useless with the One Ring out for this particular turn. Choices, choices. Let's use all of our energy. Maximum utilization of available resources. Go watch the old movie called Hard Knocks. K-N-O-X. Awesome movie. Ravenous Gigamole, or as I like to call him, the whole rigmarole. I want that one. Yeah, I think it's worth attacking with both of those. It's interesting with Sauron. It doesn't give you options. It doesn't make you pay for it, but it empties out your graveyard regardless. Ooh, Shauna. Shauna has lifelink. Too bad they're already down to 1 life point. Didn't work out for them. Too clever for their own good. Using artifacts. Pfft. Who heard of such a thing? Actually, one of my favorite decks is the Joda deck where he uses legendary artifacts. Joda and the Artifacts. I've kept it as part of my deck list. I still trot it out and play with it every now and then. I have too many favorites. I need to free up a little bit of space to make my next new deck. Okay, we'll make this the last battle. I think we've got a good sampling of what the deck is like. I did want to play with the Conduit card, but I'm not sure if we'll get to it. You can see how hard it is to, when you only have 1 copy of the card in your deck, to try and get to play with your favorite card. Sure, we'll keep that. Do more of the milling. But we're not going to do that right away. They shouldn't want to trade, right? They should expect to pump out the Beast Caller pretty quickly and be able to outscale us. Like so. We can't afford to fight with anything yet. Let's see. This will be tapped now. Put in another one of these. And I think we just have to keep on plugging away. That's a good trade for them. We start the mill. And now if they have spells that deal damage, You know what? What happens if we just attack with what we got? Oh, we made them think, didn't we? Why would I run a 3-run into a 4-4? Why would I do that? They didn't block the other one. Power 3 or less. I'm hoping they don't put it on Fairgrounds Trumpeter. Any number. Do we get to see their numbers? Do I have to do full control to interrupt this with... They do let us see the numbers. Ouch. Four lands in a row. Wow. Did they do me a favor by killing that right away? I guess we make the trade here. And it's got lethal. So I am chump blocking. I just have to hope they don't have something that gives things trample. I don't need to block with the Thespian because I know what's coming my way next anyway. Now I can run this past into the 3-3. They take it. Bring you up. It's the last time I can bring that one up. And Glissa has first strike, which beats anything they send my way. No. You messed up. First strike and death strike, get rid of you before anything can happen to me. Which means you can't block me with your brawler. What else can we get? Another land. I already milled 4 lands in a row. How many lands do I have in my graveyard? Let's see. The 4, 5, 6, 12, 13. That's almost 50-50. Let's see. Death Touch in a 5-5. That has trample, so we'll lose that one there. They should not have attacked, because this is lethal. Alright, we won more than we lost. Didn't get to play with my two favorite cards as much as I wanted to. Not to the point that they were effective. So I want to say that the deck kind of leaves me cold. Let's go in and dissect it. We'll go right into the starter decks here. Alright, yeah, I don't see the need for Sauron the Necromancer in here. You could have something else that has better synergy. I guess the two Cold Conscripts work with the Skyfisher Spider and the other things. The amount of milling, I'm not sure if it's too much or not enough. You only have 2 Reborg repossessions to get things back, and you could mill those as well. So I like the idea of getting Conduit of Worlds earlier, and then having a number of these in the graveyard, and then getting Shadow of the Enemy, and having 6 or 7 creatures that I can do stuff with, or at least maybe lasting into the mid-game when I've gone through, you know, a couple of Go for the Throats and a couple of Vanquish the Weak, and we've got half a dozen cards in the opponent's graveyard that would be interesting to bring back. The part of the issue is that these are working against each other. The Overwhelming Remorse, they exile things instead of destroy them. So it does no good to exile something from your opponent's graveyard if you want to get into your opponent's graveyard later. So I don't feel like they planned this deck out well. I think it's a poorly put together deck. I'm not sure that I like the removal cards that they've chosen. I don't think they match well with the theme. So yeah, a lot of problems. I mean, it's very what do you call it, hypocritical for me to keep harping on this. The fact that they ignored part of the card, I do that all the time, but I'm a contrarian. I do that on purpose. I will go in very specifically and choose a card and ignore half the card and say, I only want to deal with this part of the card and see what I can do with it. And often, I can do a lot more than people thought I could. But here, ignoring the Ring Bearer aspect of this card seems like a big mistake. I would not normally feel tempted to ignore that part and to try and do something unless I built the entire deck around the top part of that card, and the deck was built around Sauron. And this deck is not built around Sauron. So maybe they just really wanted to showcase a little bit more of Lord of the Rings because the other cards are Alchemy cards, right? But it just doesn't fit. I can't bring myself to like the deck. So of course I like Glissa. I like Conduit of Worlds. I like the concept of Shadow of the Enemy if this was put together slightly differently. So I'm not sure that this is worth getting rid of these cards and then putting it into Standard. I don't feel like there's enough here. I mean, that would give you half a dozen cards to put something else in that should be enough to fix the deck. But there've already been so many other, you know, green-black mill decks, self-mill decks that do so much better. It's like, why bother trying to invent the wheel in this way? It confuses me. This is probably, out of the 10 pre-made decks, this is probably the one that confuses me the most as to why Wizards would make these choices, put this together. We're used to them being a little bit more clever than this, and this just seems wrong. This seems like there's some obvious mistakes in the deck construction that they should not have made. Let me know if I'm, you know, on drugs or something, or if you agree with me. In the meantime, we'll have different things for you next time. Thanks for joining in, everybody. Have a good one.